I stood alone in my Harvard Law graduation gown, watching other students take photos with their beaming parents. My phone buzzed for the 100th time that morning. Another message from my mother. "Sweetheart, you understand why we can't be there. Diana needs us right now. Planning a wedding is so stressful." I didn't reply. What was there to say? That this was my graduation from Harvard Law School, summa cum laude. That I'd worked 3 jobs to help pay for my education while they poured money into Diana's endless adventures. That this was her 3rd wedding in 5 years. My roommate Jessica approached, her family in tow. "Emma, come take pictures with us." Her parents had always treated me like a second daughter, especially after learning my family situation. Mrs. Chen hugged me tight. "We're so proud of you." At least someone was. The ceremony was a blur of speeches and honors. When they called my name as the class valedictorian, the applause felt hollow. The 2 empty seats in the family section seemed to mock me. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Diana. "Mom says you're being difficult about the wedding. Can't you just be happy for me? It's my special day." I almost laughed. Diana's special days had become a regular occurrence. First was the lavish beach wedding in Maui to her college sweetheart. Lasted 8 months. Then the romantic Paris ceremony with the art gallery owner, 11 months. Now she was marrying a tech entrepreneur in the Hamptons. Meanwhile, I fought my way through Harvard Law, made law reviews, secured a prestigious clerkship, and none of it seemed to matter. The day I got my acceptance letter to Harvard, Diana announced her first engagement. When I made law review, she was planning her 2nd wedding. Every achievement in my life had been overshadowed by her latest drama. "Emma," a familiar voice called out after the ceremony. It was Judge Harrison, my mentor during my summer internship at the federal court. "Congratulations. Where's your family? I'd love to meet them." "They couldn't make it," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My sister's getting married." Something flickered in his eyes. Understanding, perhaps, or pity. "Well, their loss is my gain. Join my family for dinner?" "We're celebrating at La Spalier." Over dinner, Judge Harrison's wife asked about my plans. I told them about my upcoming clerkship with a federal judge in New York. "What about after?" the judge asked. "Have you considered private practice?" "I'm more interested in public service law," I replied. "Corporate law isn't really my thing." He nodded thoughtfully. "Noble choice. Though with your credentials, any firm in the country would snap you up." My phone buzzed yet again. This time it was my father. "The wedding photos are magnificent. Diana looks like a princess. We'll make it up to you, sweetheart. Maybe we can have a nice dinner when you're home for Christmas." I turned off my phone. That night, alone in my apartment surrounded by packed boxes, I found an old photo album. Pictures from my childhood, back when Diana's drama hadn't consumed everything. There I was at 10, proudly holding up a perfect report card. Diana at 16, crying over a B in home economics. Me winning the state debate championship. Diana dropping out of college to find herself. The pattern was clear. The more I achieved, the more attention Diana seemed to need. And our parents fell for it every time. The next morning, I received an email from my mother with a link to Diana's wedding photos. "Wasn't it just perfect?" she wrote. "So much more meaningful than some stuffy graduation ceremony." I stared at the photos, the elaborate flower arrangements, the custom designer dress, her 3rd, the hundreds of guests at the luxury venue. The price tag for this wedding could have paid for my entire law school education. Another email arrived, this one from Judge Harrison. "Emma, I've recommended you to some colleagues. Your talent shouldn't be wasted. Call this number when you're ready for a change." It was a partner at Sullivan & Cromwell, one of the most prestigious law firms in the country. I saved the number but didn't call. I was determined to forge my own path, away from the corporate world my parents had always pushed Diana toward before she decided careers were too stressful. My clerkship in New York started 2 weeks later. I threw myself into the work, ignoring the steady stream of family photos from Diana's honeymoon in Bali. My parents had helped fund the trip as a wedding gift, more than they'd ever contributed to my education. "You're too independent," my mother would say whenever I refused their help. "Diana needs us more." 6 months into my clerkship, Diana's 3rd marriage was already showing cracks. The tech entrepreneur turned out to be more interested in his startup than in his new wife. My parents were devastated. How could he do this to her? My mother sobbed over the phone. She gave up everything for him. I wanted to point out that Diana hadn't actually given up anything. She'd never had a career or ambitions beyond finding wealthy husbands. But I stayed silent. A year passed. I finished my clerkship and, despite multiple offers from top firms, took a position with the public defender's office. The pay was modest, but the work was meaningful. Then came the call that would change everything. "Emma," my father's voice was tense. "We need your help. The company, there's been an issue. A lawsuit. It's serious." I sat at my small desk in the public defender's office, surrounded by case files of clients who truly needed help. "What kind of lawsuit?" $50 million. They're saying we knew about the defects. Emma, this could ruin us." Diana's distraught. She just finalized her third divorce, and now this. Of course, even a potential family bankruptcy had to be about Diana's emotional state. "I'm a public defender, Dad. Corporate law isn't my specialty. But you graduated top of your class at Harvard. Surely you can help? We can't afford the big firms and your family." I thought about all the times they couldn't afford to help with my tuition. All the times they'd missed my achievements because Diana needed them more. "I'll think about it," I said finally. After hanging up, I pulled out the business card Judge Harrison had given me a year ago. The partner at Sullivan and Cromwell. I kept it, though I'd never planned to use it. Maybe it was time for a change. Not for them, but for me. I dialed the number. Sullivan and Cromwell's office was everything the public defender's wasn't: gleaming, luxurious, quiet. No desperate clients in handcuffs, no overflowing filing cabinets, no ancient coffee maker held together with duct tape. "Emma Porter," the receptionist announced. "Mr. Davidson will see you now." James Davidson looked exactly like a senior partner at a top law firm should. Silver hair, tailored suit, corner office with a view of Manhattan. The same type of lawyer my parents couldn't afford to hire for their lawsuit. "Judge Harrison speaks very highly of you," he said, reviewing my resume. "Valedictorian at Harvard Law, prestigious clerkship, yet you chose public defense work. Interesting choice." I wanted to help people who really needed it. He smiled. "Noble. But you can help people in private practice too. Just wealthier people." We talked for an hour about my experience, the firm's expectations, and compensation that made my public defender's salary look like pocket change. "When can you start?" he asked finally. I thought about my current cases, my tiny office, my dedication to public service. Then I thought about my family's lawsuit, and an idea began to form. "I need 2 weeks to transition my cases, and I have one condition." He raised an eyebrow. "I want to handle my family's lawsuit personally." Davidson leaned back, studying me. "The Porter manufacturing case, $50 million in damages, allegations of knowingly selling defective medical equipment. That's not typically a first case for a new associate. I know the company, I know the players, and I know I can win." He was quiet for a long moment. "You'll need a team, and you'll need to prove yourself quickly. Give me 2 months. If I haven't made significant progress by then, assign it to someone else." He extended his hand. "Welcome to Sullivan and Cromwell." I spent my first week at the firm buried in documents about Porter Manufacturing's case. The picture wasn't pretty. The company had rushed production of medical devices despite warnings from quality control. Now patients were suing, claiming the company knew about the defects. My father called daily, increasingly panicked. The plaintiff's lawyers want to depose Diana next week. "She's too fragile for this. She's still devastated about her divorce." I cut him off. "I'll handle it. But from now on, all communication goes through me. No more direct contact with their lawyers." "But sweetheart, we need to be involved. This is our company. Do you want my help or not?" Silence. Then, "Of course we do. You're our only hope." "Then let me do my job." The next few weeks were a blur of depositions, document reviews, and strategic planning. I built a defense around the company's quality control procedures, found technical experts to testify about manufacturing standards, and most importantly, kept my family from making things worse. Diana was furious when I canceled her deposition. "How dare you?" she shrieked over the phone. "I'm a key part of this company." "You've never worked a day at Porter Manufacturing," I replied calmly. "You're not a key anything." "Mom, Dad," she wailed. "Emma's being mean to me." But this time they couldn't indulge her drama. They needed me too much. 3 months into the case, I presented my strategy to the firm's partners. The room was packed with lawyers who'd been practicing longer than I'd been alive. The plaintiff's case relies on proving Porter Manufacturing knew about the defects, I explained. But their evidence is circumstantial. What they've interpreted as deliberate negligence was actually a series of procedural updates. For 2 hours, I laid out my defense. When I finished, Davidson was smiling. "Well done, Emma. Proceed with settlement negotiations." The plaintiff's lawyers were expecting an easy win. They weren't prepared for a Harvard-trained attorney who knew every detail of the case and had nothing to prove. $5 million, I offered during mediation, plus a restructuring of quality control procedures. They laughed. $50 million is our bottom line. I opened my laptop. Let me show you why that's not going to happen. 3 days later, they accepted $7 million. The company would survive. I called my parents with the news. "Oh, Emma," my mother sobbed. "You saved us. We'll never be able to repay you." "Actually," I said, "we need to talk about that. My office, tomorrow morning." They arrived promptly at 9 a.m., looking small and out of place in the elegant conference room. Diana came too, though she hadn't been invited. "First," I said, laying out documents, "my firm's fee is $3 million. $3 million. Diana gasped. "But we're family. Sullivan and Cromwell doesn't have a family discount." I pushed the invoice across the table. "Second, as part of the settlement, the company needs new management. Independent directors, professional executives, proper oversight." My father paled. "You want us to step down?" "It's either that or risk another lawsuit. Your choice." "This is ridiculous." Diana stood up, her face flushed. "You can't do this to us. Mom, Dad, say something." But our parents were staring at the documents, reality finally sinking in. "There's one more thing," I continued. "I've reviewed the company's compensation records. Diana has been receiving a 6-figure salary as a consulting director despite never actually working for the company." Diana sank back into her chair. "That ends now," I said. "No more fake jobs. No more using the company as a personal bank account." But what am I supposed to do?" Diana whispered. "Get a real job, like everyone else." My mother found her voice. "Emma, please. Your sister needs—" "No," I cut her off. "What Diana needs is to finally grow up. And what you need is to let her." I stood up, gathering my papers. The firm's invoice is due in 30 days. The management changes need to be implemented within 60 days. My assistant will help you with the paperwork. "Emma," my father said quietly, "we know we haven't always been there for you." "This isn't about that," I replied, though we all knew it was. "This is about saving a company that employs hundreds of people. People who can't afford to lose their jobs because of poor management and family drama." As they left, Diana turned back. "I suppose you think you've won, proven you're better than me." I looked at my sister, still beautiful, still used to getting her way, but looking somehow smaller in my world than she ever had in hers. "No, Diana. I proved something much more important. I proved I don't need anyone's approval to succeed, not even our parents." The changes at Porter Manufacturing were implemented smoothly. Professional managers took over, profits stabilized, and the company began to grow again. My parents retired to a smaller house, finally learning to live within their means. Diana, faced with actually having to support herself, got a job as a real estate agent. She wasn't happy about it, but she was finally doing something productive. Last month, I made partner at Sullivan and Cromwell, the fastest promotion in the firm's history. My parents and Diana were invited to the celebration dinner. They didn't come. Diana had a date she couldn't reschedule. Mom had a headache. Dad had a golf tournament. But this time, looking around at my colleagues, my mentors, and my friends, I realized something. I didn't need them there. Their absence no longer had the power to hurt me. Judge Harrison raised his glass. To Emma Porter, the youngest partner in Sullivan and Cromwell history. The room erupted in applause. Real applause earned through hard work and dedication, not family obligation. My phone buzzed. A text from Diana. "Must be nice, being so perfect. Some of us weren't born with all the advantages you had." I thought about the lonely graduation ceremony, the years of being overlooked, the struggle to pay for my education while they funded Diana's weddings. I typed back, "You're right, I wasn't born with advantages. I created them. Then I turned off my phone and rejoined my celebration. Yesterday, my mother called. Diana's talking about getting married again, she said. Would I help with the legal paperwork? No, I said simply. I'm a corporate lawyer, not a wedding planner. But we're family, she protested. Yes, I agreed. We are. And that's why I'm saying no. It's time Diana learned that actions have consequences. I hung up and went back to work, surrounded by the life I built for myself. Not despite my family's lack of support, but because of it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong. It's proving yourself right. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't winning a $50 million lawsuit. It's finally being strong enough to say no to the people who never said yes to you. My Harvard Law diploma hangs on my office wall, next to my partner's certificate from Sullivan and Cromwell. Below them is a small photo from that graduation day, me in my cap and gown, standing alone. I keep it there to remind myself and others that success doesn't always come with applause and family photos. Sometimes it comes in empty seats and missed celebrations that push you to create something better. Something that's entirely your own.